Let's go.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who came in to be a part of this conversation. Do me one last favor, one more again. Hit that number one to make sure that you can hear me and all that. Obviously I had to reboot this computer and all that, but we should be good to go. But be sure to hit that number one for me so that I know for a fact that you guys can hear us talking. Okay, yes, great, fantastic.
Our
Okay.
work is done here.
I know, finally, you know what I'm saying? Finally, we are good to go. Anyway, I'm very excited to be on here on a Saturday. I know it's early. Some of y'all are still getting your coffee in on the left coast. I mean, shoot, I'm still getting my coffee in right now as well. But I know a lot of us are still adjusting and getting ready for the day, thinking that we weren't going to be doing much anything at all, sleeping in, doing your thing. But hey, I had to come in here. I had to talk to you guys because there's a lot of stuff going on, as you already know, revolving around two huge, high-profile defamation cases, defamation trials right now. One with, obviously, as we already know, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. But we also got Blac, Chyna versus the Kardashians, y'all. This is some insane-ish, okay? It's been a wild couple days. It's been a wild couple weeks for the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, and it's been a wild couple days just for the Blac, Chyna versus the Kardashians trial as well. So I wanted to kind of get some people on, some important people that I know are very well versed in the world of law, and be able to talk to them about these trials. So finally, I get somebody very, very special on. He's really, really dope. He's the host and the face of Ed Versus. He also is one of the lawyers of Brown and Crouppen. You know our law firm, Brown and Crouppen. You could check out his stuff. He's really, really amazing. He also has a Facebook page called Godfather of Law. You have got to check out his stuff. This guy's amazing. A wordsmith in his own right. Please welcome my brother Eddie Herman to the show. What's good, man?
You know, I'm happy to be here. This is madness what's going on in these cases.
I know, it absolutely does, right?
Turned upside down.
Yeah. See, this is the thing that I'm trying to understand a little bit, because there's just so much, that we need to talk about within the confines of, let's just say, a defamation case, right? We have so much that's going on. There's so many other cases, so many other trials, police brutality, things to like divorce trials as well. I mean, it doesn't get to that extent, but sometimes they can. Now, with this whole thing, I mean, these are two trials that both are high profile. One's like 100 million. Another one, if I'm correct, is 300 million. Can we just kind of break down the idea or the confines of a defamation lawsuit? I think that's one thing I feel a lot of people are still, you know what I'm saying, still trying to understand a little bit more. So do you mind elaborating on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing with defamation. And it's a legitimate thing. When it happens legitimately and you can prove it with damages, it's a big deal. It's every bit as serious of a crime as, well, it's not murder, but anything that hurts you and takes away your livelihood, changes the course of your life, your reputation. You know what they say about reputation? It's an old Shakespeare quote, I think.
Yeah.
Where they say, it's well, maybe it wasn't. He had one about reputation that was
my reputation.
I've lost
Cassius.
my reputation.
Yeah.
And then of course, there's. So what happens in a defamation case is basically somebody says something about you that is false, and it gets out there to the public, and because the public now has been said by somebody who supposedly would know, their opinion of you changes and your economic opportunities change. So if a person, for example, were to come out and say, this actor, whenever he's on set, he abuses all the women. And a totally false statement, whoever the actor may be. You could imagine, especially in today's climate, that actor's not going to be working for a long time. They're going to be Me Too'd out, and they're going to be canceled. and they may miss out work forever. They may never recover from it. They may miss out on work for the next 5 years until there's that public forgiveness. So, but if that was caused by somebody else's outright lies, not their opinions, but an outright lie, this person sexually abused these women on set, total lie.
Right.
That's a defamation case. That's a legitimate defamation. You said something false about me, and I can prove it's false, and I can prove that because you said it, I've lost out on all these opportunities, and it's cost me a lot of money.
Interesting. So when it comes to, let's just use, we're going to put Blac Chyna's situation on the side for a second, or her trial. Johnny Depp, Amber Heard. Is it within the grounds of a defamation lawsuit?
It certainly is, in that if it wasn't, it would not be getting to a jury trial. Because if you don't meet a standard of law, you can get these cases thrown out on what they call summary judgment. In other words, the judge is there to determine matters of law. The jury is there to determine matters of fact. So before the trial would have even started, if the defense side was able to convince the judge that as a matter of law, they have not set up the grounds for a case here, the judge would have thrown it out already, and it wouldn't be in front of a jury. The fact that both of these matters are making it to a jury means that the judge felt like these are issues of fact that need to be determined by a jury. These are not simple issues of law that the judge can determine on their own.
Wow. Okay. Now, somebody just said something. And also, I didn't get a chance to do this yet, but we will be opening up the video chat lines. So if you have any questions after a little while, after our conversation where we go over a couple things near the end of the show, we are going to be throwing out the video chat line. So y'all be able to come in here and ask our man and me, of course, I'm here too, remember, some questions in regards to the cases that we're talking about right now. Okay. But, Nosy Rosie just asked this on the chat, and thank you so much for the comment on YouTube. She said, but can he prove it? So like when it comes to I'm so happy that Nosy Rosie actually asked that, because it becomes a very complex answer, I think. So I'm going to ask you that too, just to kind of compound that question. Can he prove it? And if he can, how can he properly do that and be able to walk out vindicated?
The truth of it is, he's on a very difficult mission. Just for those who don't know exactly what the main allegation against Johnny Depp is his now ex-wife is claiming that he hit her, right? It's his eating thing. It's many years ago. Her quotes about it were picked up by a British tabloid. Johnny Depp first attempted to sue the British tabloid for running a false story, and he lost in that case. And basically the reason he lost is because the tabloid was able to say, listen, we had it on good faith belief. We had her, the actual victim, telling us that this happened. So from our standpoint, we can't do better than that we're getting it right from the source. And he lost his case in Britain. So what he decided to do was bring his case here directly against her, figuring, well, I'm going to go to the source of what he would call the lie, and I'm going to prove that I did not hit her.
Yeah.
The problem is, and this is always the challenge when you make a defamation claim, is you're probably bringing more people's attention to the allegation than they even knew before. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm sitting here in 2022. We're coming out of a pandemic, and I have my own problems. I didn't even know that he had been accused of hitting her until he brought this case against her. Now, so you wonder if it does something good.
Well, I mean, it does make me wonder about the. You just said that overseas he did this trial, this defamation lawsuit, and he lost. What was it that happened? I just kind of want to circle back on that really quick, because I think that a lot of people are going to. I feel that he still has grounds to possibly let's just say, not win, I guess, this time around? Like, so, like I said, this is there's many things that we got to ask here. So this one thing, overseas, he didn't win, right? He didn't win at all. So what was it that made him lose that case?
Because the newspaper had not lied. They took and reported the information that they had gotten from
gotcha.
Amber. So Amber was not a defendant in that case. He tried to go after who printed the lie, but they were able to show, hey, we weren't printing a lie like we're making something up. We're printing a quote we're getting straight from the victim, supposed victim.
Right.
So that's why that didn't fly. In this country, he's going straight to the horse's mouth, as they say, and saying, you lied. But here's the thing. So much of what goes on in a relationship is behind closed doors. It's he said, she said, with no witnesses.
Right.
And once you have that as your situation, the ability to prove that the other person is lying, it's so limited. And so much of the evidence that's come out so far, I don't know who hit who or who yelled at who or how bad the abuse was, but I think everything suggests this had deteriorated into a very unhealthy relationship filled with what appears to be abuse on both sides, and not physical perhaps, but all the other abuses. And a lot of us can relate: the emotionals, the spirituals, and what have you. And what counts as a hit? What counts as a hit? She says he headbutted her at one point. He says maybe my head in defending myself or during an altercation happened to hers. Is that enough?
Are you basically trying to use the Bill Clinton approach? It depends on what is.
Well, but truthfully, what is a hit? I mean, people look at what happened with the Will Smith Chris Rock thing. People debated. There's a difference between a closed fist and a slap.
Right.
Is a slap a hit? I think a slap is a hit. A punch is a hit. Is a headbutt a hit? Is an accidental headbutt a hit? Is a hit in self-defense the same as an aggressive hit that was not in self-defense? I don't know. I think obviously, I think what Johnny Depp is hoping for is to win the court of public opinion. I don't think he's going to be able to win the trial.
Wait a second. Hold up. I don't think he's going to be able to win this trial.
I don't think so because...
Whoa, really?
Well, because...
That's fascinating. Why? Why do you think that, bro?
Because you know what? I think most people on a jury, when they see the volatility of this relationship, which seems to have come across from every witness, they're going to sit there and say, you know what? She probably shouldn't have taken their private lives public. Mm-hmm. But as far as did all of these things happen, I think the jury's going to look at it and say, so much nonsense and craziness and volatility occurred between these two people that he may not have meant to do it. He doesn't like how it casts on him, but I can't prove that it didn't happen, that there wasn't contact between them. I mean, remember, this is a situation where if he acted in self-defense, if she was just brutally beating on him and hitting him all the time, and one time he just walloped on her, what she's had to say is technically true. Then he hit her. Didn't give context for it, but it's,
Okay, so then I know this might sound a little dumb, okay? I'm not a lawyer. That's why you're here.
I'm barely a lawyer. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? But let me ask you this then, because that's the part I'm trying to understand too. If there is abuse on both sides, because they've had testimonies from counselors and all that stuff, and say that there was just straight up abuse on both sides of the fence. If that was the case, can they just both walk out? Like, could this just be a stalemate? I know that sounds weird. Or like a mistrial or something?
No, it won't be a mistrial. It'll be she'll be found not liable. But here's the thing. Look at him from his perspective. He's fighting for his reputation. And from his perspective, he feels like whatever I did to her was in context, justified, and the way she's presenting it is an exaggeration or a distortion. But let me say this. There are lies, and then there are exaggerations and distortions. My history, as I've seen what's happened with defamation cases, is they're very, very difficult to win. And they usually require a hard and fast fact. For example, somebody starts a rumor that somebody has a sexually transmitted disease. That's a big deal. These are the subject of a lot of defamation cases.
No, it's fun. Like are mentioning a case that has been going on against Cardi B and this other YouTuber by the name of Tasha K, and allegedly she was spreading these rumors of basically that Cardi B's contracted these things.
that is generally considered a little different under the law. But what makes those cases easier to prove is a person can go and take a medical test, show that they're don't have herpes or they don't have HIV.
Mm-hmm.
So if the other person said they did, boom, now we have a lie. There's no question. And in those cases, it's typically easier to show damages because we can all appreciate how damaging that might be for a person's life. Okay.
Right.
In this situation, it's gray. You don't have something that you can go and get a test for and say a person claims, a lie like, I served in the war. I won a Purple Heart. I'm a veteran. Elect me.
Right.
And they get elected like that, and their opponent sues them. For the lies and whatever the case may be. Those are things that you can look up. They can be verified. There are third-party resources that can help us here. The behind closed doors stuff, the he said, she said.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very difficult.
Yeah.
To reach a standard of proof. And yet, I think what Johnny Depp really wants here is he wants the story told to the public. This is for the public opinion. They're not going to care necessarily how the jury finds it. Right now, and this is maybe the only thing smart about what he's doing, is that if you look online, overwhelmingly, people seem to be in his camp and supporting him and very critical of her. So,
yes, extremely.
I guess to that extent, that might be the best that comes out of this for him. That might be what a win actually looks like.
Okay, so in other words, he'll be able to walk out vindicated, maybe not financially, maybe not legally, but at least he'll be able to get his voice out there, his side of the story out there. He may still lose. He may still walk away with the L in the trial, but he could still walk out and maybe go back and play Captain Jack Sparrow again.
Well, he says he won't. I think that he will have had enough people in the public who think he got a raw deal. Maybe he couldn't meet the legal standard because it was a he said, she said. But when you look at him, when you hear from him, when you hear from the friends, he definitely comes off in this as every much a victim as you expect. He certainly is not coming off as a abusive tyrant, and maybe that's the reputation he's trying to shed. Interesting.
I got something here. I had a comment from Lady Justice. I gotta find it again because it just disappeared. But basically, man, I lost it. You guys are so amazing. So you guys are coming out with all the comments and questions and all that. But she said basically something along the lines of, so the media might be flipping it because you're saying that he lost against in London. He lost against the Washington Post, but not against her.
Right.
And so then he came here, and then he turned, then now it's more a personal thing, right?
Yeah, they basically, he went after, and this is a few of the defamation cases over time that have been successful, have been against tabloids, against the publication. You printed something that wasn't true. And we've seen instances where Tom Cruise has gone after publications for suggesting that he is not straight. And, of course, he's concerned that, because of his image as an action hero, that causes financial harm. So you're used to seeing celebrities go after publications. Problem is, very easy for them to get off because all they really have to show is that they had a good, solid source and that they had every reason to believe that what they were printing was true.
Yeah, so, I can understand him not winning that particular case because it's like, hey, we went to the source. The source is telling these things.
Right.
Because, there's still people on the other side that don't think that she's lying. There's obviously Team Amber out here. So when you hear somebody come to you and say, hey, I gotta talk about this because I got to expose this thing. I have been Me Too'd. Of course, that publication, one, it's juicy and it's salacious, right? But two, they're going to instantly believe her as being a victim of or survivor of Me Too. And they're going to say, hey, so tell us your account. This is not them putting a gun to her head and saying, lie, lie, lie. They're saying, if this is your truth, this is your truth. So speak on it. So I guess that's a viable reason of why somebody that trial in London would not
Right.
pass,
There's a lot of stuff that wouldn't have even been allowed to come out in that trial. A lot of this underlying stuff did. But I think what it boiled down to was, you know what? If you are concerned that a lie has hurt your reputation, you really need to bring the case against the person who lied. And that's what we're seeing going on here. And listen, I don't know if this even really falls into a Me Too umbrella. I mean, they were married. The relationship itself was a consensual one. This was not an abuse of power situation. Every husband and wife has got a dynamic between them. You hate to see couples go sour.
True. That's
but
true.
But every couple that goes sour does not fall into the Me Too umbrella.
Gotcha. So, okay, we're going to continue this conversation real quick. But I see a bunch of people in here. It's been amazing. I see a whole bunch of souls watching the show right now. Please do me a favor real quick before we continue. It's just simple. It doesn't cost you a thing. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Make it scream out your name. And if you haven't done this yet and you're a first-time viewer of this show, welcome to the Pascal Show. The Saturday edition. We didn't do a show yesterday, and I felt like I wanted to give you guys something, and so that we can get ready for next week, for the next week's trial and all that. And so, yes, please do me that favor. Hit that like button down below. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button, okay? If you haven't done that, hit that subscribe button. But also, be sure to hit that like button down below and send it past 200 likes for me really quick. That would really mean a lot to me. I see over 500 souls watching the show. Good morning. Get your cup of coffee. And let's get talking with this legalese-ish, okay? Now, the thing is, okay, we got this whole thing with this. This is a crazy whirlwind of a trial, right? As you have been seeing, you're going, holy cow, this thing is insane, right? Now, something that I found... Okay. How can anybody walk out of this clean? Because, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No one's walking out clean. Everyone, the public opinion will be divided, no matter what the result is. And I think that, Johnny Depp fans have seen him in a way that they are not used to seeing him. They'll decide for themselves or not. I don't think he comes out of this looking like a wife beater. Let's put it that way. I don't think he does. I think if anything else, people say, you know what? Neither one of these people seem to be able to control themselves at all. Shit happens in a marriage.
No
Shit
doubt.
happens with people living under a roof like that. Doesn't excuse domestic abuse at all. The domestic abuse on this side seems to have gone both ways. Luckily, he's extraordinarily wealthy. They can afford to be divorced and apart and raise their children and never have to see each other if they don't want to.
True that.
Which is a lot better than a lot of couples dealing with abusive situations. I think just looking at the facts that I've seen, I only wish that one or the two of them had gotten out of this thing faster. I don't think she was healthy for him. I don't think he was healthy for her. And, that's why I think that, remember, facts and opinions very different. A person can share their opinions about a person. A person could say, I think so-and-so is a terrible person. I think they're arrogant. I think that they're a liar, kind of stuff. Those are opinions. You can't have a defamation case based on opinions. There has to be an actual statement, a statement presented as fact that's an outright lie.
Okay. And I see that piece. And I think that the whole purpose right now is that Johnny Depp is trying to prove that everything that she has come out has been a flat-out lie, or at least that op-ed that she put out in the Washington Post is a flat-out lie. But how can you actually successfully prove without a shadow of a doubt that her op-ed is absolutely false or fabricated?
I'm not sure shadow of a doubt is the standard here because it's a civil case. It probably doesn't have to go that far. Here's what is looking to me to be the legal strategy.
Okay.
We're going to not focus on that one statement. we're going to show the world the whole dynamic, the whole relationship, at the belief that if we can show the volatility of the relationship, the abuse, the craziness, and all of that, that people by extension will say, well, if all of that horrible stuff was going on and they were hating each other and doing this, under those circumstances, I can see a person lie about something extreme like getting hit. So I think that's sort of the legal strategy is, if I can show all of the lunacy, and it's a strategy.
But that's the thing. It's like, how do you successfully show that? Because for example, and let me just pull up this still so that everybody knows what I'm talking about, because it is part of our top story of the day, and it has to do with the video, right? The video that she shot, and it's all pixelated and terrible. But if you can see it right there, I mean, it's that particular still right over to the left of the photo, and she is sitting there. She pulled out a phone and secretly was filming him while he was lashing out in the kitchen, kicking and screaming and all that. Now, this is apparently when the day after he had found out his mother had passed. So clearly he is in, he's in an
emotional state.
Yes, he's very emotional. He's very upset and all that. Understandably, I'd be very upset too. And I don't know if I'd lash out breaking things in my kitchen, but at the same time, I would be emotional nonetheless. She pulls out the phone and starts filming these things, right?
Right.
Now, everyone now knows that this is a full-on, like she tried to make it seem like she was a victim in that situation. There are other things where she has said where she's been black eyes, bruises. He never touches her.
Right. So we have him. I mean, again, that's a piece of evidence that cuts both ways. I mean, on the one hand, she's showing the world the Johnny Depp that you think you know from the movies. I'm going to show you a different Johnny Depp. Look how angry. Look how volatile. He's kicking. He's screaming. He's crying. And yet, he can turn around and say, you know what? That video is as angry as I've ever been. I was emotional. My mother had just died. And yet, did you ever see me raise a hand to her? Did I go after her? If I wasn't going to go after her under those circumstances, as angry as I was, I'm not a wife beater.
Right.
So, it's all... And I listen, the public doesn't know her very well. She's done some stuff. I don't think anybody cares about her in her celebrity capacity. They may care about her as a human. He has a following, a fan following of people who are loyal fans for 35 years of his work.
Okay.
He's coming in. And listen, he's not there. He's not being accused of anything. He's not on trial. He's the plaintiff.
No.
He brought this action.
Interesting. And so she's here to defend herself.
Right.
Now, here's the thing, really quick. We got a couple super chats. One, thank you, Latanya Brooks, for the $1 super chat. Lateef also put out, what's up, Lateef? He just asked, does JD and Amber have children together? They do not. She has her own child via surrogate.
Right. He has a couple with his first wife,
from
Vanessa
his
Paradis.
Yeah, from his French wife. I mean, when they lived in France on a vineyard, and he loves his wine, so that he was probably on cloud nine with that being having his own vineyard in France. You know what I mean? So yes, so she's defending. Obviously, he's the plaintiff, but he has lost a lot of money because of this whole thing. He's being recast in movies. They've discontinued certain things, or he has been written out of specific things.
Yeah, but consider this.
Sure.
He getting old. He's getting old. He's been acting a long time.
Yes.
And, his box office numbers, other than the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, haven't been anything to write home about. I mean, that's the other thing, too, is he has to prove every element. He has to prove not only was this said and that it was false, but that because it was said and it was false, this is the reason why he's been written out of things. This is the reason why he's not being offered other roles.
Exactly.
And, I mean, come on. How are you going to prove that? He has a really high asking price. He has a really high net value. He's still a name. The idea that it's costing him work or losing work, he's got a lot to prove here. And that's why I say, as a legal, I don't want to say an expert. You can use the word if you like, but as just a person who's around it, who sees how hard it is to win trials, the plaintiffs rarely win a trial. That it's easier to poke holes in something than to build something. It's easier to knock a building down than to build a building. Building a case on the plaintiff's side and succeeding is just way harder than defending a case.
Yes, yes. Well, first off, and thank you for that information. I got a super chat here. Dion, I can't sorry, but thank you so much for the 140 czars. I really do appreciate it. He asked a question: who's allowed to sit in court to witness the trial in person?
Technically, all trials by the Constitution are public. Now, a courthouse can limit, because of capacity, how many people can get in.
Right.
And as such, they may give priority to press outlets, priority to family and friends, and there may not be much room for the general public. That said, the whole reason why cameras are being allowed in the courtroom and why we're seeing the amount of footage that we are is going back to the OJ trial and the proliferation of the court TV and these programs using cameras in the courtroom so that more people can watch the trial has, of course, gotten way more popular in the last 30 years. So technically, you could say we all have the right because we're all seeing it.
It's interesting because, and that's that is an interesting point, though. And I do have a member comment that I wanted to read here in a second. But I do find this very interesting as far as everyone gets to see all this. We're seeing all of it. Does this help? Does this help in this trial? Does it help with the inside the things, not public court of public opinion, but just the actual trial itself? Is it necessary, or does it even help, man?
I guess you won't know until you get the verdict. But ask yourself this question:
Sure.
If you were a person starting out who was of the belief that, yeah, I can see him being a hothead. If she says he hit her, he probably hit her. Let's assume that was your starting position. She said it. Why would she say it? The Washington Post published it.
Right.
They were exonerated for publishing it. If you started off this trial in that setting and you've been watching this all day long, how would you think that your feelings have evolved during the case? Are you doubling down and going, oh, yeah, this guy's nothing but a wife abuser? Or are you starting to say, you know what? There's two sides to these stories. Life is complicated. We can't automatically assume because he's the guy and she's the woman that he's somehow the aggressor and she's not. And I think that what a lot of this trial has brought out are a lot of questions in the public about the realities of what goes on behind closed doors, which is that you can get a lot from both sides.
Absolutely. What I also find very interesting is that we are prone to instantly side with the woman. Especially when it comes to any type of DV, like domestic violence or any type of abuse that happens between a man and a woman. We are set in our brains to go, Johnny did some bad things to this girl, so on and so forth, when it could be, well, wait a second, abuse can happen. That same abuse, instead of being on this side, can actually be on that side as well.
It could, but you know what? I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for society that our first feeling is to listen to what the woman says there, because there is a power disparity still existing to this day within marriages. It's a power disparity based on physical strength. It's a power disparity based on financial independence and interdependence and dependence. And so when you see that stuff, I don't want to, I think people are foolish to think, oh, well, these issues go both ways, as if to say that's 50-50. It's not.
Right.
The vast majority of these issues are straight male on female domestic violence. And so that's why that does have to be our default position as a society until we investigate and see otherwise. And in most instances, these things are kept private. This is just so public that I guess he felt like under these circumstances, I can't have that default position being people's system. I got to put it in context. They got to hear the rest.
I got to say my side. I got to speak my truth. And I think that's one thing that we're seeing more than ever now. And I think that's what he said in his trial the first day when he took the stand. He sat there and he said, "Hey, I'm here to speak. I'm here to tell my side. I'm here to tell my truth. I'm here to tell. I couldn't speak for these many years. Now I can finally speak out, and here I am. So you listen to me, and these are the things I got to say." So I got a couple things here really quick. I got a member comment. First off, Tommy Justice Thank you so much for being a member and supporting this channel for the past 12 months. I really do appreciate it. And I see over 1,000 souls watching the show right now, so hit that like button past 500 likes. That would really mean a lot to me, okay? I see a bunch of y'all coming in, a bunch of y'all family coming through and having a conversation. We getting down to the nitty-gritty today, okay? But he said, Tommy Justice said, I'm a firefighter diagnosed with severe PTSD. As a result of performing my duties. And I've seen a lot of people, especially men, react to death violently, sadly. And that is very true. Now, I have a super chat that's actually saying something else. Brown-Eyed Girl 714, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. She says, this video is from after he found out that his assistant stole a buttload of money from him. I would be slamming stuff too. JD needed this hearing to get his story out. He stated that he never got to tell his side. Justice for JD, and I think that's echoing exactly what we're talking about here. This is actually an opportunity for him to speak out, say what he needs to say, because he's been silent this entire time, and he hasn't been able to work for years now because of this Me Too thing, and his silence.
I think also the pandemic stopped a lot of work in his industry. It slowed things down, and this is a tremendous time-consuming thing for him. I mean, he can't be out there making films if he's suing people and going to court, no doubt, against the tabloid, and now going to court against her. And listen, I've seen him, and this is. I'm just gonna. Can I be real with your audience?
Hell yeah! Look right into the camera over there.
Johnny like shit. You can't not attribute some of that. When you had the young, good-looking Johnny Depp, of course he's going to get more part opportunities. But where he's looking now, he looks frightening in this thing. He's a good actor. There's no question. He's done some quirky parts early on. But listen, Jim Carrey's a great actor. He's been accused of nothing. He's not working either, because you get to a certain age where the type of entertainment you were known for, you've become too old for. So, I mean, I can point to his career and say, don't say it's because somebody said this thing about you and now no one's going to hire you. I mean, you got to prove that to me. I'm on his side. I'm on both his sides. I want them to move on with their lives and find happiness. I want everybody to find happiness. They clearly make each other miserable. They press each other button. What's sad to believe is that at one point in time, they were enough in love so that a guy like Johnny Depp, who could have had God knows how many women, and an attractive wife who clearly had opportunities, they loved each other enough to get together. The fact that it has now come to this in a relatively short period of time is a cautionary tale for all of us.
It most definitely is.
I say that because you're getting married in 3 weeks, Pascal.
Yeah, very, very true. I do tie the knot. But the thing is here's the thing. When it comes to my world and all that, I have never had anybody say, run! I've never had anybody say that. Now, there's other guys out here that are getting the whole, like Johnny Depp had friends telling him, run for the hills. Don't even bother with this woman. And lo and behold, he's still...
That's a shame. I think the lesson there might be we need to be listening to our friends more. They do see things, and they know us.
Facts. That is very, very, very,
kind of why we have them.
Yes. That's why we have them. And that's why we have siblings, too, saying, don't do it. Just don't do it. Now, here's the thing. Before we go into one of our main things like this, the fact that apparently she's been selling these videos of him, especially the infamous him smashing up the kitchen. She's been selling these videos to TMZ, and we have proof now that is true, because it happened to me, too. I'm just going to let you guys know that. I do have to ask about this other part, okay? This is something that I found extremely, extremely strange. Here it is. We've been in, I think, this was the second week. We have 6 weeks of cross-examination, 6 weeks of this trial. They already put Johnny Depp up on the stand quick. Why did they do that strategy? Why that strategy? And is that smart? Because they still got 6 weeks.
Right. But
4 more weeks.
That jury, he's the star of this show. He's Johnny Depp, man. That jury is sitting there, and you're asking them to give up 6 weeks of their life, 6 weeks of their attention and paying attention. It is not a rock concert where you're saving the big guy for the encore. He has to get out there and win the jury over first, because how they feel about him is going to color how they interpret all of the rest of the information that they're going to hear.
That's clever. Ah, okay. Because I kept thinking, like, why wouldn't you wait until the very end, or like the second to last week or something? Like, you got 6 weeks. So letting this seep down into the bones, let it marinate, right?
Well, just like anything else, once you've decided sort of whose side you're on, it's going to change how you see every fact that comes out. Look, we see it with all.
Yeah.
Once you've decided, most of the public just like becomes their advocate with whatever stupid thing comes out of their mouth. And I'm not making it. It's every side. We all do that. Yeah. Once we've decided we're on somebody's side, we find ourselves remarkably loyal to that side. So he's got to get people on his side early and hope to God that they stay on his side the rest of the way. And bear in mind, too, the rest of the trial, once we get to a certain point, is really going to be about him proving his damages. It's going to become much more boring. He's going to have Hollywood executives are going to have to take the stand and come right out and say he would have been offered this movie. He would have made $20 million. We had a board meeting about this. Mm-hmm. The allegations came up, and somebody said, you know what? We're not going to spend $150 million making a movie if there's a chance that the fact that this story is out there is going to kill my movie. They saw what happened with Kevin Spacey and these other people, how it killed projects, expensive projects. So he's going to need an executive or 2 agents to come out and this is money he would have had in his pocket.
Yeah.
And the reason he doesn't is because of the things she said.
Wow. And you're saying that's going to be the boring part? I think that's going to be fascinating as hell.
Fascinating to us.
If he can actually get these Hollywood execs to actually come up onto the stand and say, yes, because of this op-ed, because of the BS and the lies, alleged lies that are put out for everyone to see, we did not cast them in this movie because of this whole Me Too movement.
Now, it's not a big stretch. When you see how paranoid everybody gets, nobody can afford to go out on a limb for anybody these days. You see stories like the dad from the Goldbergs, who winds up losing his job on that show, and all he did was shout the word vagina on set. I mean, he didn't.
He really did that?
Yeah.
He just said vagina.
Yeah, somebody was something, and I guess in an anti-PC rant, he ran around the set yelling vagina. And so, which, come on, that's not a big deal. And listen, I know people say, it's not a big deal to you. Yeah, it's not a big deal to me, and I'm allowed to have an opinion. My opinion is it's not a big deal.
That's facts.
Yeah.
You're allowed to say whatever hell you want,
Yeah, but the fact is, you can look at that and see that things have gotten so sensitive. So when it's not look, is it a stretch to say, look, Roseanne lost her entire show and years worth of income over a tweet? Now, I think
it was a hell of a tweet, though. Let's keep it real.
Listen, I'm not saying she should have lost it, I'm showing you want to talk about how of words can take a person away from hundreds of millions of dollars.
True.
She had words, and it cost her hundreds of millions of dollars. So for him saying, I was accused of punching my wife or hitting my wife, don't tell me that didn't cost me at least as much as it cost Roseanne to put out a tweet. So you're going to hear arguments like that, maybe not specific to Roseanne, but like that for him to justify the massive amounts of money he's asking for.
Right, because you also got to remember they're reading his text messages now. They're going through his text messages that he's having with his friends. Maybe he's got a little bit of a dark sense of humor, but at the same time that. That's what I'm saying.
I don't even think that those tweets should be admissible because that's not really part of the allegation. The fact that he, threatened to do horrible things to her burning corpse, these are statements we're allowed to make out of anger. There's a lot of things we're allowed to say. There's nothing wrong with that. You can say a lot of stuff, and you just can't do a lot of stuff. Big difference between saying I'm going to kick someone's ass. We say it all the time. People say it. It's not
true.
illegal. It's fine. But if you kick someone's ass, problem. Look at Will Smith. He goes up and actually hits Chris Rock. But if he had
really
just stayed
did.
in his seat and said, say it one more time and I'm going to come up and hit you.
Right.
And then Chris Rock moved on with his bit. We're not talking about that thing very much. I mean, maybe a little bit, but it certainly wouldn't have had the same thing. Saying something and doing something are not even in the same universe.
True. They're two completely different entities. And now you have this. Now, what do you think is going to be like the next move for the defense? Because, plaintiffs already have put out Johnny Depp right out in the front. And I'm sure they're going to be bringing in some Hollywood execs saying, yes, without a shadow of a doubt, the things that this op-ed, so on and so forth, he lost X amount of bags, so on and so forth. What do you think the defense is going to do? What's their next bloody move?
I think for them, they continue a narrative that shows him being erratic, shows him having a hot temper, shows him using drugs. You know, there's been testimony about him using drugs with a couple of other celebrities. And I think, because remember, it's a clean kill for them. If the jury believes that he hit her, the whole case ends. You don't even get to the question of damages. Because if what she said was true, that's an absolute defense on a defamation claim. So if they don't have videotape of the actual him hitting her, but they can present enough evidence to suggest, guys, I'm sure, it's circumstantial evidence. People talk about it like it's not good evidence. Circumstantial evidence is good evidence. If you go to sleep at night and there's no snow on the ground, and you wake up in the morning and you look outside and there is snow, see, that's circumstantial evidence. You didn't see the snow fall, but we know that if there was no snow the night before and there's snow the next day, you can rightfully conclude that it snowed last night. And so don't piss on circumstantial evidence. She is piling up a lot of these other things circumstantially to paint a picture that this guy is not the guy you maybe know from the movies. This guy is entitled. He's erratic. He has shown violent tendencies in his texts, in his actions, and it's not that big of a leap, or at least they're hoping it's not that big of a leap for them to say, you know what, they didn't catch that on tape, but if he was willing to do all those other things, taking a punch at her or a slap at her or a headbutt at her doesn't seem like that big of a leap. So, and I hope the listeners know, I'm not taking a side on this at all.
No. You're just speaking about this.
Right. I can step into his shoes
diplomatically.
Make his arguments. I can step into her shoes and make her arguments. And the only reason I think she'll win is it's so damn hard to win a defamation case because you're trying something that didn't happen.
Oh man. Okay.
Think about how hard it is to prove something that did happen.
Right.
That didn't happen.
That's interesting. Now, okay, I'm glad you said that because it goes into this piece here. I showed it a second ago. I'm going to show it again here too because let's be real. They're using this and they're leaning on this mug like crazy right now. But there's this piece right here, the photo, right? The photo where he's lashing out. I just showed it to you earlier. Him lashing out, getting upset, getting emotional. Some people are saying it's because he found out his mother died the day before. Some people are saying that it's because he lost a lot of bags, a lot of money. Now, here's the thing. When they presented this, they showed this. Was this a strong move? Do you think that this is strong for the defense? Or do you think that this was just of footage?
It's defense, of course, because it's just like again, I go back to the Will Smith thing because it happened so recently and there wasn't much to it. So there's like 5 facts you need to know about the Will Smith, so it's easy for people to digest.
Right.
But trying to explain why he hit Chris, by saying, well, this guy went after,
right.
Well, this guy went after condition, or
right.
They've been having marital issues and he shouldn't have gone after them knowing that they're in a vulnerable place, or she's really just there as a civilian, she's not really there that night in her celebrity capacity. Her husband, it's his night, and you violated the rules. You can go after celebrities who are there in celebrity capacity. You aren't supposed to go after people's family. You can justify it a million different ways. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that whatever his reasons were, he slapped her. He slapped him. In this situation, it wouldn't matter how distraught he was he could have lost his mother and all of his money. But if the end result of that was that he actually hit her, then she's right. She didn't lie, and she wins the case. So she getting into all these contexts as to why he was so angry at a particular moment. It doesn't really matter if it ends in a hit. Now, that particular one I don't think is what precipitated the hit that she's talking about. But I do think from her side, anything that paints him out to be, this is the Johnny Depp that you guys don't really know. This is the one you don't see in movies. And
right.
21 Jump Street. Anything that's like that is good for the defense.
Interesting. Got a super chat here really quick. Lady Justice, what's up, girl? Lady Justice, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. She says, so if there was no shit in the bed when JD left, but then shit in the bed after Amber left, it is easy to conclude she shit in the bed. Now, you heard about the shitting in the bed.
I did not, but that's...
You don't know about that.
Let me say this.
Let's talk about shit.
I thought Lady Justice was just giving us an extreme example. I didn't realize that was based on fact.
Bruh, that's real.
But yeah, I mean, something like that. Yes, if something is not there and then it's there, it's just footprints. Footprints are the perfect circumstantial evidence. You didn't see the person make them, but you also know that the only thing causes footprints are feet.
Facts. Because he did tell a very interesting story about how he it was like when he finally made the decision to leave her, right? He finally made the decision to say, I'm out, I'm done with this drama. He leaves without like getting his stuff, his belongings. He heard that she was about to go to Coachella. He said, oh, this is ample time to go and get my stuff, like all my memorabilia, my personal belongings, things that I'm sentimental about. His friend goes, hey, you know what? That might not be a good idea. And he's like, why? And then he shows him, this is during his testimony, he shows Johnny on his phone a photo of his bed, and there's a human-sized, massive dookie on his side of the bed. And so, of course, they use that the plaintiff side used this to throw out there to show that Amber Heard is crazy, right. And that this whole situation been just a barrel of just craziness. And him dealing with her has been absolutely insane as well. So they use that as a defense as well. Poopgate.
They're both painting with broad brushes,
right?
To sway public opinion, which hopefully also sways the jury because they're members of the public.
Yes.
Did somebody write something there? What came up there?
No, somebody just wrote this. I thought it was funny. Dookie crisp.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I maybe truer words were never spoken.
Exactly.
Johnny Depp's best case scenario here is he'll either win, which I don't think he will. Or,
man, that's so crazy that you think that he might not win.
I don't think he'll win. And then on top of that, though, if he doesn't, though, the victory that he is likely to get is the victory of people, right or wrong, and I'm not saying I feel this way, people in the public saying, that bitch crazy. if he laid hands on her, we know it's wrong, but I get it. And that's about that's the best he can hope for. And I think a lot of the public will feel that way. I think a lot of the public, we know we're not supposed to raise our hands to anybody. But the distinction between men and women is fading more and more.
Yes.
And there are a lot of people in the public that are like, and I don't want to stereotype by putting an accent on, except to say, you wanted equal rights, you're equal. You're going to be like that, you're going to take a hit.
Yeah.
Just like a man's going to take a hit.
Yeah.
Welcome to what it is. I don't agree with that, but I do think that there's definitely a percentage of the population that has that sentiment already.
It's so funny because Lady Justice got jokes today. Again, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. She says, perhaps after this trial, Hollywood will finally have Heard immunity against Amber and blacklist her from films like they did Johnny. I think that at the end of the day, yes, as Eddie just beautifully, eloquently just said, that chick crazy, that chick be crazy, and I'm hoping that this is a big wake up call to to everybody in Hollywood that she is not fit, or she's not a fit person to hire anymore. So as much of this as this is really bad and damaging for Johnny's career, this is also damaging for Amber's career too, because not everybody's going to believe her.
She has a career.
I mean, she was in Aquaman. You know what I'm saying? Like she's doing
but
something.
it wasn't like she was Aquaman.
Right, she ain't headlining movies and whatnot, but she was well on her way of being something. But because of this whole trial, I think that this is going to ruin her career as well. Actually, that's another question. Could she countersue like right after this trial if she's found?
No, she cannot. That's a quick answer. When you are pursued for something, and this is any type of lawsuit, you have to raise all of your counterclaims in the confines of that suit. So if she had anything to say about him, she needed to raise it in her defenses and duke it out in this trial. She can't wait for this to be done. He said
Duke.
And then go after him. Yeah, there you go.
Dookie.
She's going to duke it.
All right. I got a couple more super chats real quick. People are coming in, filing in. Hey, do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button down below. All right. Hit that like button. Send it past 600 likes. I see over 1,200 souls watching the show right now. So show us some love. Hit that like button. It doesn't cost a thing. We are working hard out here in these streets for you on a Saturday morning.
In a very warm studio, I might add.
I'm just saying it is warmer than usual today. Usually it's cold.
I've got a sweatshirt.
Yeah, usually it's cold as hell in here. That's why I'm always wearing this beanie, because my head gets cold. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I got a Jonathan. Thank you so much for the $5 super. Regarding substantial evidence, don't underestimate how petty and patient people can be to frame others or paint a picture of others. What do you think of that? That's a good point there too.
I don't know. I don't remember what the name was. I think as a general statement of the world, I think it's absolutely true. I think you can't underestimate what people will do if they are. I have an expression. I write things down on my phone where I say that there's no accounting for spite. There isn't. People always think, well, so-and-so would never do that because it would hurt them as much as it would hurt that person. Throw that idea right out of your head. People from the beginning of time have been doing that. Mm-hmm. There is no accounting for spite. People use the expression, I think also Shakespeare maybe, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. The truth of it is, hell hath no fury like a man scorned either.
That is very true.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be scorned. And some of us are better at moving on from it. And others they want their pound of flesh.
Yeah. And I feel like that's
Shakespearean quote.
No kidding, right? I mean, this is all Shakespeare.
Man, that man could write.
Him and his other people that wrote those plays.
Listen, whoever wrote them were geniuses.
Yeah, they were amazing. Real quick, thank you, Belle, for the $10 super chat. I really do appreciate the support. And also, real quick, shameless plug. You can also hit that join button down below. It helps support this channel and all that. So please, there's that blue button or that yellow or that white button written in blue says join on there. Click on it. It's only $5 a month. It helps it helps funnel more things for this show. It helps make things like this be created and all, like this studio and whatnot. So please hit that join button. And also I have my Patreon, patreon.com/thepascalshow. Please go over there. I got a bunch of behind the scenes footage, all that stuff. So please go join that too. What were we going to say, Eddie?
I was going to say, I just to tell people that they should support the show.
Thank you.
If for no other reason, then you're beholden to nobody. You really are. I mean, you can come on here, give people an honest opinion, an unfiltered opinion.
Facts.
So many other things that are out there that they may listen to, those people are looking to hold on to their jobs and please their bosses and stick to their station guidelines, and we're not allowed to go there, and we're not going to. And they've got legal teams protecting every word they say. So you wind up getting these very corporate sanitized programs. And it's nice to have a program, especially local here, but it's just, this is just raw. This is like those people sitting down with us, a real conversation with just no bullshit.
Hell yeah. That's why That's why my night show is called Pascal Raw. So you just said something that's just so real. And I appreciate you saying that. Thank you so much. And, Eddie's been on the show multiple times before in the many variations of what this show was. I mean, it was a late night show with a couch and a desk to a radio show to you name it. He's been on every single variation. So having him here is a blessing having you on, my brother. And of course I want to have you on because we talk legal stuff over here for real. We got another super chat from Brown Eyed Girl 714. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. She says, my opinion is she's hoping to be a widow, not ex-wife. She threw a fit not being in his will. Oh snap, I didn't know that. Then buys him engraved with until death, then jumps on Elon Musk. Gold digger much? Emoji. Interesting. You know what? Interesting piece of information too. I didn't know about the will situation.
Listen, if everything she just said is true, that she's angry for not being in the will, and that's not unusual. First of all, he's got a tremendous amount of money. Mm-hmm. He had a tremendous amount of money before they got together. What he would normally do in a situation like that is he would set up most likely a prenup that would be in place in case they got divorced. And if they stayed together, he would most likely set up a trust for her so that she would have a certain amount of money to live on for the rest of her days. Yeah. But he's not going to take the massive hundreds of millions of dollars that he made beforehand and set it up. He's going to his children that he most likely had a set up for her. Now, as far as her targeting Elon Musk, we all go after people for different reasons. Is it a quest for money? Is it a quest for power? Is it a quest? I mean, is this how measuring her own self-worth? A lot of us pick our partners for all sorts of different reasons. Right. And, she has to live and be comfortable with the reasons that she's prioritizing.
Right. And obviously she's been prioritizing a lot of different things for clearly a lot of her focus has been money and fame, mainly fame. And of course, like you said, after him saying, I'm done, I want to be out, she has said, nope, I'm going to try to take everything, including your own success. I'm going to tarnish your entire career by this op-ed, whether or not, we got to stay fair to a certain extent, whether or not she was abused or not. She decided, I'm going to destroy this man's life. And because, like you said in the very Eddie, reputation, and that's all he has. Everybody, it's all about their rep.
Every
at
woman,
the end of the day.
Listen, every woman too. Let's be fair. Women have had way more, problems and concerns in society about keeping their reputations intact. We all know when a woman develops a bad reputation, what that can mean. So I don't think it's a male-female thing when it comes to that. I think, your reputation is your gift. And I think anybody who takes to the public to reveal behind closed doors secrets, something needs to be thought of like that. I understand in circumstances of certain types of abuse, it's maybe for the greater good to make your story known. I don't know it was for the greater good for her to make her story known.
Right. I don't think it was for the greater good, but
No.
I think she's thinking it's for the greater good for herself.
For herself.
And that's
Right.
it.
And
It's not like she's exposing something where this is a monster tyrant that's done all these things, all these other women that he has been involved with, that terrible relationships up with or breakups with, have come out and said he has done nothing but been a gentleman and a scholar, for crying out loud.
I think
just wino.
That's compelling evidence. I mean, listen,
right.
Every relationship that you have can only end one of two ways: with death or with a breakup. There's no third option. So, looking back, and, everyone's had a lot of relationships, and, no two people may say the exact same thing about you. But I do think the fact that nobody has come out and shown any of this type of behavior on his part, it's compelling. But, people do evolve, things change.
Right.
And, who knows? All I know is this: if somebody's going to take something public it better be for the public good. If you're taking it public for the private good, I got no interest in that. If you're taking it for the public good, I'll listen to you.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we got to get into these other super chats because we got some stories to get into as well here. Mo, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Could she sue him for defamation, though, if he loses this and she ends up losing contracts due to this trial? Can she do that? That's an interesting loophole. And also, really quick, thank you for that. Answer that in a second. Rena, I want to pull this in here. Rena, $5 super chat. They said, correction, she is countersuing right now in the trial for $10 million. So I just want to make that abundantly clear. But back to, and thank you for the $5 super chat.
That kind of answers his question. She's already doing that throughout, during this trial.
But, okay, so then why would she be countersuing? You see what I'm saying? Like in this particular trial, just to one-up him? Or is she really losing gigs because of the op-ed that she wrote herself?
Well, remember, that's always the thing. He came out and controlled the information with what she shared in her op-ed. He has shared a lot of information since then. And, there's nothing that he's really saying now that he didn't say in the earlier trial. So it's possible he has a counterclaim in this based on stuff that he has already said in that trial.
Gotcha.
She's not going to win either. I mean, listen, I think for the most, a jury is going to look at this and say, how sad is this that two very successful, at one point good-looking, wealthy people can't get their shit together? I think most juries are real people struggling with real everyday problems. They don't want to deal with a bunch of Hollywood bullshit. They want to figure out, how am I going to take care of my family? Everyone, how many people on there have been the victim of some type of abuse, male or female, emotional or physical, and they're sitting on there as a jury and they're saying to themselves, nobody paid me for my pain. Okay? That's a big problem we go through anytime we go in front of a jury, because everybody has suffered. Everybody has been hurt. And juries sit there and say, nobody has paid me for my pain. The last thing I want to do is write another gigantic check for people who do not need a gigantic check.
No kidding.
So here's my other prediction for you. If he does win, they'll award a nominal amount of money. They'll say, this wasn't really about the money. He's trying to restore his reputation. Like when Taylor Swift rightfully had that lawsuit against the person who grabbed her behind. She didn't care about the money. She only asked for $1. She was awarded $1. But she wanted it to be clear that just because she's a celebrity does not give somebody the right to go down and grab her behind.
Yeah, right. She is not a piece of meat. Just
right.
You know what I mean. For anyone
she
to
entertains
just do the thing.
She does not belong to the public.
Absolutely. Rod, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your comment and being a member for as long as you have. I had to refresh my computer because on my end I was getting my feed was getting a little fuzzy, but. The internet's being really, really sticky, guys. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why. It's on a Saturday of all things, and there's not many people in the studio space right now. But for some odd reason, it's being a little sticky. But we do have some more super chats we're going to get into. We got a bunch of them, and I appreciate all the love and all the questions and all the support here, guys. So I got another one here. Belle, again, thank you so much for $10 super chat. Amber is just mediocre at best. There's nothing special about her. Her looks, while pretty, just blends with every other actress that you don't remember from one film to the next. My opinion. Thank you so much for that $10 super chat. Let's go on to the next one because we got some more. All right. Charlie Miller, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. She might get fired from Aquaman 2, I think. Yeah, I think she is. I hearsay right now, but I think go officially because of this whole thing. I mean, this is not making her look any better. This is destroying her career just as much as it has destroyed Johnny Depp's career. We have Dion. Thank you so much for the 140 czar. With regrets to text to staff, we have seen a different side of JD. This affect the jury. Disney withdrawn JD, but if offered $300 for a film, I guess $300 million. Yeah. $300 million for a film. Why will he not do it if not guilty? Jury's conclusion on rent-free witnesses.
I don't know exactly what they. I guess the point is,
I'm confused by that one too.
I don't know.
I mean, okay, as far as like, Let's do the first question, the top question with regards. I'm sorry, with regards to text to staff, we have seen a different side of JD. Will this affect the jury's decision?
You know, I mean, you never know with the jury which piece of information resonates. You don't know why they liked or believed one witness over another. I am always horrified after a jury trial when we're allowed to talk to some of the jurors and just get an idea of like sort of what the vibe was in the room, where people were leaning, which pieces of evidence stuck out. And the things that they'll tell you are never the things that you think were the big pieces of evidence.
Right.
You know? And so will it affect how
Right.
a jury looks at it? Might. Listen, it wouldn't be put in front of them unless somebody believed that this would influence the jury one way or the other. If they didn't believe it would have an impact on the jury, they would not be presenting it.
That's it. You know what? That's true. And obviously, they're hoping that whatever texts, whatever pieces of evidence that are written, correspondence with friends, other actors, and stuff like that, they're hoping to use this so that they can sway the jury to say, "No, Johnny, you're in the wrong completely."
Listen, being an asshole is not a crime.
It is not,
and it does not make you a wife beater. You know,
It doesn't.
You know what makes you a wife beater? One thing: beating your wife. You don't beat your wife, none of this other stuff makes a difference because he's not really making his claim about whatever psychological abuse or other abuses went on. It's a very plain thing. You have to do that in a defamation case. You got to isolate a particular statement that was presented as fact. You have to prove it was false, and you have to prove it was damaging.
That's a good point right there too. We got a super chat real quick. Alex Schmidt, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. How do you see this affect the current gender war? Now that's the thing. Like,
okay, see, I don't like that he's even calling it a war.
I mean, that's the thing too. I'm like, is there a war? I didn't even know that there was a war, y'all. But I'm gonna throw it over to you first, Eddie. What do you think?
First of all, I don't like the idea of couching it as a war. I think that we have been evolving for very, very many years as gender roles evolve, as notions of gender evolve, as we're all, in a perfect world, we're all working toward a better situation where everybody feels like all of the opportunities of the world are open to them, no matter who they are. Like, to me, it seems silly. I'll share a little insight. Like, this talk of like LGBTQ, rights,
LGBTQ plus
rights, or
AI,
women's rights, or men's rights, or rights for immigrants. Like, to me, there's only one type of right. I know it's going to sound trite, but they are human rights. And I'm sorry, I cannot accept the idea that somebody's going to tell me that one human is entitled to more than another human. So I don't really care how you break it up. I don't care if are you telling me because this person is this religion or this race or this gender that you're going to make an argument to me that means that they deserve less rights? I mean, that to me sounds like nonsense. I think the default position should be, oh, you're a human being. Human beings have these rights, period. Yeah. Why it even has to go beyond that in anything is beyond me. Now, listen, that's my utopia. I recognize we're not at that point yet, but I like to believe that that is the end goal of all of this stuff that we're trying to figure out. And, listen, I'm a man. I see what's going on. And, yeah, on some level, it bothers me. I feel like maybe there's some oversensitivity. I have the same issues with cancel culture that everybody else does. But I also know that pain is growth. And you're not going to get to the better place without going through some pain.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's true. There's a lot of things that, yes, it's about human rights. And I think we also got to realize that it's equal on both sides. That's what it should be.
Should be equal for everybody.
Exactly. Instead of it just being, when a woman screams out, "I've been such and such by this man," maybe instead of us always instantly siding with the woman, maybe it's more of like, let's see what the evidence is. Let's see what's going on here first, because it could be the opposite.
That's how it should
like
be.
This particular case
but
right
even
here.
So, it should. But even in any case, allegations should be taken seriously, but they should be taken seriously as allegations. and then allegations need to be proven.
And that's what I mean.
Right.
Yes.
They need to be proven because
Perfectly said.
We have a lot. Listen, it's unfortunate. We have a lot of people whose lives have been seriously affected, whose ability to earn a living has been affected based on only allegations, unproven criminal conduct. And I don't think that a person's life should be ruined by allegations. Allegations do need to be taken seriously. They shouldn't be dismissed. We don't want to silence victims. But all a victim can do is make an allegation. And then after that, it has to be proven, because the central basis of our legal system is that you were innocent until proven guilty. And as such, you need to be treated as an innocent person until we're able to treat you like a guilty person.
Exactly. And that's what it is. It's like, okay, we take the accusation serious, the allegations serious, and then we do our due diligence.
Exactly.
Look it up, find out what's going on, find out the actual where the truth lies. Because obviously between one story and the other story, between one side and there's their truth and then there's truth, but in the middle is the truth, right? So hopefully, that's what I think when it comes to this whole gender war thing, which I don't think actually. I don't like saying that. But,
I don't like calling it that. I just think it sets us up for failure.
Yes.
Call it a gender journey. Call it an evolution of the how power is allocated in this country. Which, let's be honest, we need a serious, redistribution of power as far as that goes, because the power still is heavily in the hands of old white men. And that makes sense. It takes time for those things to change, but the goal has to be to evolve towards something better,
right?
Not devolve into something worse,
right? Charlie Miller, it's a $2 super chat. He's correcting this, so thank you so much. She's suing for $100 million bag, not $10 million. So thank you so much for that correction. That's why he was suing her for 50. And then it turned into $100 million suit.
Something. I know a little something about Hollywood, net values, and whatever else.
Come on with it.
Amber Heard wasn't ever going to make $100 million doing anything. Go romance Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Go sit down somewhere.
Where did these people come out with these outrageous figures?
I don't know.
Do they ever not realize how offensive that is to a jury? It's offensive to a jury. You think a jury's going to look at her? She's still in her mid-30s and all this, and they're going to say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna with as nutty as we found out she is, let's write her a check for $100 million."
Yeah, right.
What the fuck planet are these people coming from?
That's what I'd like to know.
Excuse my language.
No, you're good. It's the Pascal show. So you're
just
good.
saying it. I don't curse, but when there's no other word.
Yeah, it's funny because Bella even said $10 super chat. Thank you so much as well. She said she will never be a headliner like Johnny, and that she's basically echoing what you just said. But we got some more super chats, but we got to get into these stories and stuff, because I found it very, very interesting that one of the situations that's happening right now is the headliner. We've been talking for almost an hour and a half on all this stuff, but I think that was very important to cover those things, because I know a lot of y'all have questions about these things, just like I do. But now there's some very interesting stuff that's happening. Okay, so just the other day, I showed you guys that video. I can't show the video anymore. And I'll explain here in a second, but the still that we just showed a bunch of times that they're basically using as their bread and butter of him lashing out in the kitchen, smashing stuff in the kitchen, because he was very upset about a multitude of different, just mad. He was just mad about some things. Okay, now the thing is that apparently. She sold this footage. She sold that footage to TMZ. Now, you may be wondering, why are you saying this, Pascal? What's going on with that? So on and so forth. Well, there's proof. One of the funny things that recently happened is that, I got hit with a claim from TMZ. And there's a lot of other YouTubers that have gotten hit with claims from TMZ saying that the footage that we showed you guys of him lashing out in that kitchen, and she's laughing and smirking and all that stuff, trying to play the victim in this video, she's exercising her improv skills, that she literally she sold it to TMZ. How does TMZ can be able to claim said thing. This is what I found very interesting. The only other way she could have done this is if she sold it. Okay? Now, shout out to that Umbrella guy. He's a really great YouTuber as well. He's been covering this whole thing, this whole situation for a long time, since the moment things were filed. So he's been on this for a while. And he put out a tweet just recently that said this: TMZ copyright claimed yesterday trial footage again. I disputed them claiming Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard's the Day 7 footage. It seemed to have lifted their initial claim, and they claimed it again. I'm going to tell you guys because I got a story to tell here too, because it happened to me too. Okay? So, Team YouTube, this is nuts. They just keep hitting stuff over and over again. Here is the claim here. Hi, that Umbrella guy. Shout out to his channel real quick. All right, again. Copyright owner using the content ID has claimed some material in your video. Your video is live and the visibility settings you selected remain applied to it, but it is now either being monetized by the copyright owner or they have chosen to receive analytics about it. This is not a copyright strike. This claim does not affect your account status. Now, underneath all this, it says, obviously what the video that is being claimed. And then it says copyright content. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, the explosive fight. Then in parentheses, TMZ Live claimed by TMZ. Now, what's interesting is how can TMZ claim this as their own? How can they say that they have the rights to this footage? They must have bought it. She must have signed it away and given it to TMZ for a couple of bags. Don't you think that's very interesting? So, I got a lawyer in the house right now. I got an Esquire with me, Mr. Eddie Herman. So when I look at this and I see this, what does that translate to you when you see that they are claiming it? They have they're saying copyrighted content is owned by. They have the rights to TMZ. The TMZ has the rights to this footage. What does that basically say to you in plain English?
I would say there's three ways I think that they can claim to have the rights to it. The first way we can dismiss quickly. If they had actually filmed the fight on their camera, they would have the copyright. I think we can all assume under these circumstances that she set up a camera, filmed it herself. So I think we can eliminate that as a possibility. Second thing would be like your suggestion that she took the footage and sold them the rights to it so that they are now, because anybody who takes a picture, takes the video, automatically by law is the copyright holder.
Right.
That's why I remember that famous one of that, was it a baboon that took a picture of themselves? Yeah, remember, it's all over the internet. There's like this baboon that took a selfie. And it made its way all the way around. And the guy who camera wanted to claim, that's my picture, I should be compensated. But he didn't take the picture. The baboon took the picture. And the baboon cannot hold the baboon can't hold copyright protection.
That's insane.
So it became public domain. So but if she sold it to them, then they can claim to be a copyright holder. It's also possible that if they aired it with particular context, with additional footage, graphics, and everything else, that their version, they could claim that that version of it has copyright protection. So if people were able to get the raw footage from another source and it wasn't coming from TMZ, then they wouldn't be able to claim it if they hadn't bought it. But it is possible if people are pulling it straight off of their thing. Now, that said, you can do it. You can use it as a fair use if you're using it to make commentary on it, which is what allows the news stations to use clips of all the monetization if you're off of it. So technically, if TMZ does in fact own the copyright and other people are using it and making money by using it, in other words, they may have a show that generates income, then I think they probably have some rights to shut that down.
That's so great. So she sold that footage.
That is the most likely scenario. Is that she sold the footage to TMZ.
Now, because isn't there another possibility? Because I've been watching this,
or somebody sold it.
Okay.
Although it would have had to been her. If she took the video, she would have had to have sold it.
Okay.
somebody else out of had the copyright to sell.
Right.
She had the copyright. She would have been the one.
Okay, so then if because I watched that Pam and Tommy Hulu show, right? And the guy there found the tape and then obviously put it out there, and then they ended up having to sign the rights away, but they had, I don't know, it's like something along the lines of, if somebody had full on rights, they had their hands on couldn't they still say isn't there some sort of possession type of situation where they could sit there and go, well, I found this, so on and so forth, or I acted and I put it out there, so it is mine type of situation?
No, absolutely not. You cannot. Those are gains. Steal something and then expect to get paid for that which you stole. The copyright is held by whoever took the footage. And if I'm thinking correctly, I'm guessing they either set the camera up or Tommy Lee would have had to take most of that because she was pretty occupied during those videos. I don't think she'd have been able to be holding a camera during that. But yeah, finding something in someone's house does not grant you any legal copyright protection for it.
Interesting. Okay. So then, yes. I mean, if all else, like if all those other things are completely
and why
kicked
wouldn't
out,
she? Why would she? She's trying to win her case and not lose her case when she's being sued. If she has a damning piece of video that's Johnny Depp at his worst moment, but the truth of it is, none of us want a video of us in our worst moment. Nobody wants an audio. I remember when Alec Baldwin had that nasty voicemail that he left for his daughter back when she was a kid.
Then
called her a thoughtless pig.
Thoughtless fat pig or something crazy.
I don't think
he
called her fat. I think it was a thoughtless little pig. Mm-hmm. But I remember thinking back then, well, geez, that's not great. But you think if you just take a pause and you let your humanity come through a little bit and say, well, Jesus, if me at my worst, in my worst temper, my worst attitude, my unkindest, if that happened to be caught on video or on audio and that became the thing released to the world, wouldn't we all look like terrible people? Even Mr. Rogers, I have moment.
No kidding.
He must have had a bad moment at some point where he threw his hands up and said, what the F? And if that were caught on tape and went out, some people would try to sell you on this idea of, oh, he wasn't the man you thought he was, or you've seen a side you'd never seen before and it should change your opinion. But let's take a step back and be a little bit more human. Why should that change your opinion?
You got a point there.
You expect people to be the same way 100% of the time?
Hell no.
No, we got dimensions. No. We got ingredients.
Right. We got, we got a little, we're all spicy meatballs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's in there. It doesn't excuse, hitting a person, but everything short of that, we've all been there.
No doubt. And I appreciate you putting in the commentary in this situation too, because it is very interesting, especially with this copyright situation. Because here it is, guys. It happened to me as well. This whole copyright issue, and the thing is I tried to fight it and all that, but then I get hit again with another one. Right? Not a strike or anything, so I'm good. But at the same time, it was kind of like, well, this is showing proof positive that she sold this footage. That's just wrong. She wanted to expose him, and as our guest Eddie said, she wants her pound of flesh. Real talk. But the next thing, though, too, that I found very interesting was there was something that happened in the opening statements from the defense, right? And her defense attorney went up to do her opening statements, and she made some claims about the makeup that Miss Heard was wearing to cover up said bruises that she was getting that obviously Johnny Depp had inflicted upon her. So this is interesting. Now the makeup team, now the makeup company has come out and said, lie detector came back and proved that is a lie. So here it is. Milani sets record straight on Amber Heard's Johnny Depp bruises claims. So you can't make this stuff up, y'all. Let the record show that Milani does not does not want to be dragged into the Johnny Depp Amber Heard ugly courtroom drama. The drugstore cosmetics brand has recently implicated in his suit against his ex-wife, Johnny Depp's ex-wife, Amber Heard. During opening statements this week, Heard's attorney, man, I can't talk today, claimed that the Aquaman actress called Milani concealed perfect all-in-one correcting kit with her throughout her entire relationship with Johnny, and suggested that she'd used it to cover up injuries from Depp's alleged physical abuse during their relationship. Milani has since responded to the brand's surprise appearance at the trial. On Thursday, the makeup maker posted a 15-second video to its official TikTok account to debunk Heard's claim. Look at this video, y'all. We can't play the music, unfortunately, but this is fascinating nonetheless.
There's one thing you can expect.
But you can see here, they're showing off the concealer, and it says right there, confirmed released in 2017. Now, if this was true, how would she would have been able to walk with concealer when she was in a relationship with him just before that? They had broken up after. They had been broken up. Sorry, they were broken up before this concealer was, y'all. So the lawyer comes out with their opening statement going, without a shadow of a doubt, this is the stuff that she was using to conceal all the bruises, so on and so forth. And now the actual company has come out and said that that is not even true. What are your thoughts on that, man? I feel like that's a bad move on her side, right?
Well, for sure. And listen, I think that those are the kind of facts you want to pin down before you make a statement like this is what she used to conceal her bruises. On the other hand, to be fair, it could have just been she was mistaking on which concealer she was using. I mean, it's been 5-6 years since
that's
this
true.
happened,
that can happen.
And products evolve, and I'm sure there was a version of a concealer that they had prior to that version of the concealer. So yeah, it looks bad, but like most things, you go a little deeper into it, and you're like, it was the prior generation product, which had a slightly different name, but we called it that because that's what it's called now, but that's all we meant by it. And then you go,
that's
okay,
true.
Listen, we're all looking for salacious facts, aren't we? Because we're whores and we're interested and we're bored people. But, most things are easily, explainable. Not everything is salacious. Not everything is a smoking gun. Some things are just people trying to remember the best they can 5-6 years later and just not getting it all perfect.
No kidding. Mara Cherie said, drugstore concealer? Really? I mean, maybe. But yeah, you'd think that Amber Heard, of all people, would have, top of the line makeup, so on and so forth. But she was using this to cover bruises and all kinds of crazy stuff on her face. It's very strange to me. But there's another piece here that I thought that was interesting as well, is that Amber Heard's been arrested before because of a physical altercation that she had with her then girlfriend. We got to look at this one too. This is just like, as much as we say that he's the aggressor, he's the abuser, he's putting his paws on her and all that stuff, we're seeing that there's other sides of Amber too in this situation as well, other than just her taking a dump in a bed and filming him while he is at a moment of weakness, at a moment of anger, at a moment of passion. We are also seeing that she's been arrested before for putting her paws on a lover, on a significant other. Okay, so Amber Heard arrested in 2009 on charge of hitting girlfriend. Now, domestic abuse. Authorities at the Seattle Tacoma International Airport in Washington State confirmed to U.S. Today, which is the article I'm reading right now, and this is an old article, by the way, that Heard was arrested by Port of Seattle police on September 14th, 2009, according to a spokesperson. Okay, Heard and her then girlfriend, artist photographer Tazia Van Ree, got into fracas at the airport after Heard allegedly grabbed and struck Van Ree's arm. Heard ended up being nicked for misdemeanor assault in the 4th degree / domestic violence, Cooper said. However, in November of 2001, the police received a request to delete the arrest information on the case, and as allowed under Washington state law, it was then deleted from the system, Cooper said, but not from all systems. So, after she was arrested, her mugshot was taken, her case was assigned a number, and appeared in King County District Court in Seattle the next day on September 15th, 2009. There, she learned that the prosecutors declined to press charges against her. The district court clerk's office confirmed to USA Today. Van Ree, however, says Heard was wrongfully accused and the incident was blown out of proportion. In a statement issued by Heard's publicist Wednesday, Van Ree said 2 cops misinterpreted and over sensationalized the incident. I recall hints of misogynistic attitudes towards us, which later appeared to be homophobic when they found out we were domestic partners and not just friends, the statement said. It's disheartening that Amber's integrity and story are being questioned yet again. Amber is brilliant, honest, and I have the utmost respect for her. We shared 5 wonderful years together and remain close to this day. Amber, 30, grabbed headlines 2 weeks ago where she filed divorce and a restraining order with explosive allegations on Johnny Depp, as we already know, including before their marriage all the way until an alleged violent encounter on May 21st at their downtown Los Angeles loft. Now, what's very interesting, obviously, we already know where we are now, right? We can fast forward up to today right now and talk about this. But what's very interesting about this particular situation where they say that there was undertones of misogynistic attitudes and homophobic vibes. What's interesting is that the person, one of the people that was involved in arresting Amber Heard during this altercation, is also a member of the LGBTQ plus AI community as well. So where was the homophobic vibes when they got arrested, or when she got arrested for putting her paws on her girlfriend of 5 years? What are your thoughts on this, man?
Well, first of all,
and can they use this in court?
I don't know that they will be able to, because remember, well, I don't know that it's relevant. Remember,
but wait a second. You're saying that it's not relevant, yet it is still proof showing positive hand.
Who cares
on somebody else?
But that's not part of the allegation of the claims here. If his whole case was, yeah, I hit, but it was self-defense, then all of a sudden all this other stuff maybe becomes relevant. But that's not what he's saying. He's saying she says I hit, and I'm telling you I didn't hit her. So the fact she was involved in some situation in 2009 where, her and her girlfriend at the time maybe got into a little skirmish, what does that answer for you about whether or not Johnny Depp, a decade later, hit Amber? He's saying he didn't hit her at all. Not that he was justified, that it didn't happen.
Right.
So the fact that thing 10 years ago, what does it matter? If you were in a fight today, on today's circumstances, and the person, and the allegation was that the hit didn't even happen, do you think it would be fair to go into your past 10 years to some skirmish you got into some bar, somebody spilled their beer, acted like an ass, and it led to a couple of whacks? I mean, it's just not relevant. It's not relevant.
No, and I see your point there too, for sure. That is true, but aren't they using all kinds of evidence against him right now from years ago as well?
They are. And the
you know what I'm saying?
But he's using that too, and he's using it again because what he's hoping is that even if he loses the trial, then in the court of public opinion, people will say, I don't think he hit her. But if he did hit her, not to say she had it coming, but maybe it was justified because she has a history of violent tendencies. That's a public opinion argument. It is not a legal argument.
Okay. I mean, but I keep thinking like they're showing everything else. It shows at least there's a history of violence on her side, though, too. Yeah. Right?
It seems like they both have certain, qualities in their personality that seem to put them into a lot of situations where, listen, I guess under the right circumstances, anybody can lose their cool. I mean, some people trigger you. They push your buttons. The closer you are to them, the more passion you have toward them, the more vulnerable you are with them. And the more vulnerable you are with somebody, the more they can use that vulnerability for things that are not good. That's why things lead like this.
Interesting. Okay. I got a couple super chats really quick. Dion, thank you so much again for the 140. Czar, crude language is what I meant. Like F her corpse, etc. And also $300 million contract question is not addressed. Why would both of them take photos and clips? Mean acting in defense, not normal. So what do you? So the $300 million contract question. Let me just say this. I think he was, when it came to that question, because I didn't understand it, is that maybe there is when it comes to say Disney did not want to work with him. And then suddenly they want to give him a $300 million contract to do a whole series of stuff. And he's like, hell no, I'm not going to take a $300 million contract from Disney anymore because you didn't have my back. You cut me out. As soon as this Me Too op-ed came out from Amber Heard, you sided with her, threw me under the bus. I think that's part of it right there. Now, when it comes to why would both take consistent photos, clips, means they were acting in defense, not normal. I do agree with that as well. Maybe they knew, because you got to be real, is going over there and taking photos of the bruises on their arm, for example, or the bruises on, holding that for some reason. Wouldn't you say? I mean, they're not just holding that for ish and giggles, right?
When you know things are heading down a bad path, and you know you're both wealthy, and you have a sense that it might end in a court, you start recording things. We've seen it in a million cases. We've seen it in cases all over the place. Couples know when things are starting to go sour. If they can catch something on, seeing is believing. If they catch something on tape, it could make all the difference in how the outcome of their case is.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because if you have somebody who's it's like constantly fighting, you're having these issues, eventually, I think you're going to go, well, I need to take these photos just in case, or you're going and cops have shown up, they're taking photos too, they're taking the photos. Because they need proof. After the fact. Yeah. Right? So a lot of times they're still taking photos anyway. So I do understand what Dion's saying, though, is like, you already pushed the snowball down the snowy hill, and it just accumulates and gets worse and worse and worse, to the point where you get to this ultimate moment, which is being in this trial. But let's get into this next super chat. Bell, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. My husband in his youth has hit a few walls. He was angry. I get that. My point: sometimes people need a physical outlet. Johnny's fit was nothing. I'm sorry. A true fit calls for the handyman. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Some people just need to punch a punching bag. Some people need to go run a couple miles. Some people need to go lift weights. Some people need to go and practice jujitsu and roll around for a couple hours to get some of their aggression out. Hitting a wall, yeah, sure, you're hitting a wall, but I feel like it's sad. I wish, and I would encourage any person out there that has a lot of pent up rage, let's just say, because of God knows what's happened in your life and your upbringing. Like Johnny, he was a victim and a survivor of abuse and being in a household of abuse. So having that much pent up anger and all that, you got to turn that into positive energy. So I'm going to say that really quick before I throw it over to Eddie. I strongly recommend. I mean, yes, punching a wall can feel sometimes at the moment really, really good until you break all your, until you break your hand. I say take that energy, put it towards something that you're passionate about. Put it towards running. Put it towards a really good workout. I think that's just turning that negative energy into something positive for yourself. That's what I think. But Eddie, what are your thoughts?
Well, clearly, I mean, you have to find a way that's legal and doesn't infringe on anybody else's sense of peace for you to get your stuff out. Again, going back to Mr. Rogers, even he would never have advocated somebody hitting somebody else. But he said, when you're angry, it's okay to stomp. Yeah. So if stomping feels good and it helps get that out of your system, nobody's hurt by that. If he had gone over into a punching bag and hit the punching bag 10 times, nobody would have said, oh, he's out of control. He would say, okay, he's angry and he's going to take it out on a punching bag. And that would be fine. The only problem is if you decide to direct that anger and you're punching another human being or an animal. That's the line. This is not a real gray thing. I can scream as loud as I want. I could punch the air as much as I want, and nobody would or should care. It's only the point where that punch is not in the air, but it's on somebody else's chin. It changes everything. It is a definitive black and white line. That's it. As soon as that happens, you've gone too far.
Yeah, you're right.
Short of that,
you
can do whatever you want.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's obviously you take that frustration, you take that anger, you put it towards something else. You see what I'm saying? Not towards another human body, not another human being.
The difference is the word control. If what you're doing appears to be in control, like punching a punching bag, it's fine. What scares people is when we see people who cannot control themselves. That's the fear. That was the fear. Even with Will and Chris, it wasn't even so much the slap or it looked like in that moment, in a circumstance where he had every reason in the world to keep himself under control. This was his big night. Mm-hmm. When you see a person not be able to control themselves, it makes all of us afraid. We weren't afraid for Chris. We were afraid for ourselves. Because when you see that, you start thinking, that's a scary thing when you're watching a human being who cannot control themselves.
Absolutely.
It makes us feel vulnerable.
Exactly. It's interesting. Somebody just put up something I wanted to pull up really, really quick. Wally Waldo said, I go listen to music if I'm angry, to be honest, stick my earphones in and go bye-bye, LOL. I mean, and that's true too, right? You find other ways. You find a way to get that frustration or anger out of your body instead of using your body to inflict pain on someone else or inflict pain on yourself. Some people end up doing some really terrible, heinous things to themselves just cause. And so I highly, highly, highly urge every single last one of you guys to find different ways to get that frustration, that tension out of your body. If it's yoga, if it's writing, if it's making music, whatever it may be, find that outlet that has a positive outcome, not say turning to a vice like drugs or excessive amount of sex or anything. You see what I'm saying? It's being smart about what you're doing, what you choose to do, and not inflicting pain on somebody else. Unless you're doing jujitsu, that's another conversation in itself.
Hey, if it's consensual, you can inflict pain.
Right, exactly. But real quick, guys, we were going to talk about this Blac Chyna situation, but I think I'm going to have to hold that out for another day because we've been just in this crazy, great conversation with my boy Eddie Herman. But open up the phone lines really, really quick. The video right now. Okay. And do me a favor, guys. I see a bunch of you guys still here in the conversation, and I really do appreciate it. Please go hit that like button down below. All right. Hit that like button down below. All right. And if you haven't done that yet, too, I got to do this as well. I gots to. But if hit that like button down below, send those likes past 700 likes. That would really mean a lot to me. And if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. Again, hit that subscribe button. I hope to have Eddie back on to talk about legalese and talk about all these things that are going on in the very near future. And I appreciate him coming on and chopping it up with all of us about this. And real quick, before we get some people on, the video chat link is at the top of the chat. Can you tell them a little bit about Ed Versus? Because I know that, man, you got this great show. It's on BCTV on YouTube, and it's called Ed Versus. He does some really great stuff. It's really thought provoking, but funny at the same time. Like I said, this dude is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, if you go to, it's all free. If you go to bctv.com, you can watch all of the episodes of Ed Versus, which have actually won a whole bunch of Emmys in the Mid-America region, which is pretty exciting. There's good stuff on there. The other show that I do that's on there, and that I think people might be even more familiar with, is Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches.
Yes, that's another great one too.
Terry Crouppen, Andy Crouppen, and I, we go to different restaurants in the area, check out their wares, have conversation with each other. We just premiered a new episode yesterday, and what makes this episode special is that Ryan O'Reilly, the captain of the St. Louis Blues, joined us for the episode. So if you're a Blues fan or a Ryan O'Reilly fan, it's an episode unlike anything you've seen. It's a very organic conversation while we eat, and we find out all sorts of stuff that I promise you no interviewer has ever asked him about. So if you want to see that, that's great. I'm also, if you guys are wrestling fans, Glory Pro Wrestling is coming to the pageant tomorrow night. It's going to be a great wrestling event, and I am actually appearing there. I had to get my license as a professional wrestler and manager.
Really?
Yeah, they have a rule. If you're going to touch anybody or the ring, you have to be licensed because of potential blood issues. So I am managing the tag team of Danhausen and Dan the Dad versus a tag team called Grindhouse that's being managed by Tony Patrico of 105.7 The Point. He's been talking smack now for several weeks in anticipation of this match.
Wow.
I've cut some promos. Look, it's all for fun. But if you do like professional wrestling, it's at the pageant tomorrow night. It's not very expensive, and I think it might be live streamed as well. But you see, you never know what you're going to get with me, Pascal. You know, I take the law seriously. It is my job. It's what I do by day. But when I'm not doing that, I like to eat sandwiches. And I like to analyze things like bathrooms and naps and cereal and elevators and airplanes and all the things I talk about on my show. And once in a while, I manage a little professional wrestling.
Yes, and what's crazy is like to get that license and everything. How long did it take you to get that?
A couple of weeks. I just had to go to the doctor. They had to take a bunch of blood work, do a physical, and
really?
then I went out. Oh yeah, because they want to make sure I'm not going to spread any blood diseases. You know, so no HIV, no hepatitis.
Right. That makes sense.
I'm hoping they don't see my blood at all. I'm getting a little bit nervous. Patrico's out for blood.
Yeah, man. You're messing with Patrico, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
You might have to come in as my bodyguard. I feel like you could kick his behind.
I'm with it all day long. It sounds like a great time.
I bought myself a very good athletic cup to protect my privates because he has made it perfectly clear in his promotions that he's coming right after my.
Oh wow!
My nugs.
Really? He's already going after the nuggets?
He's going right there. Yeah.
Wow, bro. That's crazy. That is crazy. Hey, real quick, guys, the poll is I also have a poll at the top of the chat. So basically it says, do you think Johnny Depp will win this trial? So it's just a yes or no question. Click on that. Just let me know about that. But we do have the StreamYard video chat line is up and pinned to the top of the chat. So please click on that, jump on. You don't have to be, you don't have to have your face on camera. If you ladies, I know some of y'all want to make sure your face is beat to the gods. So I understand. Have the time right now with our special, wonderful guest on with me today, Eddie Herman, to chop it up about all this stuff. So if you have any specific questions around this defamation case, please hop on. Love to hear your thoughts. The video chat line is linked to the top of the chat. Don't be shy. Hop on and let's chop it up. Let's speak on it, okay? Now, while people are still trying to, figure things out or get dressed or whatever before we get on, let's talk about this defamation lawsuit with Blac Chyna and the Kardashians. Now she is suing. Allegedly, she is suing the Kardashians for $300 million, yo. $300 million.
I feel like this could be a whole episode.
It's a whole
It
episode,
really is.
right?
I will say this. I never in a million years thought that I would be on the Kardashian side in a lawsuit.
Whoa.
After having read all of these, I don't see the basis for a claim by Blac Chyna.
Okay, so
I'm surprised they even were able to get it in front of a jury.
Right. So real quick, just a quick. Blac Chyna has first filed for her defamation lawsuit, and in 2017. So now, some 5 years later, on the 18th of April, jury selection has commenced or had already happened for this trial, which proved complicated when prospective jurors expressed disdain for the family in court, which I thought was very interesting. Now, she was dating Rob Kardashian for a minute, then they were engaged. They also have a child together. Shortly afterwards, they started shooting this show called Rob and Chyna, and apparently it was doing fairly well. And so they were going to do another spinoff,
A second season.
Which was basically a spinoff from the Keeping Up with the Kardashians reality show. They were going to go into a second season, but Blac Chyna is now claiming that the Kardashians stopped the television network and all them, that from actually creating the second season. So now she's saying she could have been able to make some serious bags over this situation, and that's why now she has filed a $300 million lawsuit against the whole Kardashian clan. This is the wildest thing. So just to give you guys a quick warm up, all right, that's the meat and potatoes right now. This is the wildest thing. You think no grounds?
None whatsoever.
Why so?
I reviewed all this. First of all, let's assume everything she's saying is true. Let's assume that the show had been picked up for a second season, they started to film it, and that members of the Kardashian family went to the E! Network and said, I really would rather you guys not continue on with the show. It's not good for our family. It's tearing us apart.
Mm-hmm.
Rob and Chyna at this point were already broken up. It's really off-brand for us. It's diluting what we're doing. We'd prefer it if you canceled it. Who cares? That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly ethical. That's not defamation. That's using their fact that they built E!
Well, they're basically saying, and I understand the whole building of E! Of course. I mean, without the Kardashians, there would not, without keeping up with the Kardashians, there wouldn't be a slew of other shows on E! Like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So, but there were claims of what Kris Jenner was basically saying about Blac Chyna, saying, "Oh, she's ghetto, she's stupid, she's this, that, and the other."
Those are opinions. Those are opinions. See, you don't.
But she was saying this apparently to the people producers of the Rob and Chyna show.
But she didn't. Personal opinions. Personal opinions are allowed to be expressed, and they're allowed to have influence. What you can't do is make a lie about a person that changes things. But there are too many facts here that make it clear. First of all, the show started off with decent ratings. The ratings went down as the first season went along. And then on top of that, the couple broke up. The basis of the show was their relationship.
Robin
alone. E! says, you know what? We were interested in the show when we were going to see you guys living together. As soon as you guys broke up, there's no show for us. There's just not a show. On top of that, you have the fact that at some point she got a restraining order against Rob. So let me tell you, Chyna, I do a lot of film production. I do videos. I do stuff. Hard to do a show with somebody if you have a restraining order against them, because how the hell are you going to film it? They can't be within 500 feet of you.
It would be a very interesting dealing with that whole. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
like how they deal with it and all that stuff. That's drama for them. They don't even have to write that.
That's a creative choice that E! didn't want to deal with. These shows have production costs.
Gotcha.
Filming in multiple locations quite often doubles your cost of production. So It doesn't matter. E can do whatever they want. They were not under a contract to fulfill another season. The way it was written gave E the right to cancel the show, just like every other show on television. It can get canceled, and that's it. They didn't have like a 10-year contract that was then violated by a lie. That's what she'd have to show. Meanwhile, wasn't an episode. What was she getting? $2 million a season? You know, and this was the second season. Did she think the show was going to run 150 seasons?
Yeah,
her math is fucked.
But that's the and is why was it a why a $300 million lawsuit than just a $100 million lawsuit or just a $100,000?
Here's why.
You know what I mean?
Here's why. Because her people are sitting there saying, well, hold on a second. Let's look at the careers of the people that started on these Kardashian shows. Look how much money Khloe has made by now. Look how much money the Jenners have made doing these things. Look how much money Kim has made. She's a billionaire. The other one's a billionaire. This was the path I was on. But let me tell you something, Chyna. You're not a Kardashian. You don't look anything like them. They have got their own business. This is their empire. You may not like them, but they built their own empire. You glommed onto it for a little while and made a few bucks. And now your show got canceled. Go on with your life, and if you're truly talented, you'll find another way to make money on your talent. But the Kardashian family does not owe the idea that you're going to be a billionaire simply because for a short period of time you glommed on to their family empire. Gotcha. You're not in their family, and that's that. Move on with your life. You got with this guy, you got knocked up fast because you were trying to get in there, trying to get into those bucks. Listen, that's what happened. And now it's backfiring on her, and I'm no fan of the Kardashians. I do respect their empire. I respect every empire because I know the amount of hard work that goes into building an empire. And I don't like outsiders trying to glom onto decades worth of hard work that were already done by other people. I mean, she's sitting there weeping in court because Rob, some ex-husband he's a piece of shit. He takes naked pictures of her and then puts it out to the public.
There we go.
She's weeping on the stage. Let's not forget, the empire was born on a sex tape that Kim did. If you want the big money, you got to commit yourself to what it takes to build your crowd and some of it. And she made the most of them. But Chyna, that doesn't mean that you can just go on there and now you're going to get weepy because a couple of pictures went online. I mean, Rob, if there's any claim here at all, I would have much rather pursue that claim. Sue Rob for releasing private photos, and if there would have been a claim there, I would have supported that claim in a second. She didn't deserve that. But she also doesn't deserve $300 million for trying to glom onto somebody else's empire. I don't see the 100. I don't see 300 million. I don't get it. I don't get that. Do you see anything? Do you think that there was a lie that was the difference between her continuing to do that season and not continuing to do that season? What was that lie? You tell me. What was the lie? Because if you can't trace it to a lie, then you don't have a defamation case.
So grasping at straws.
You know what? She's not looking
basically
for
grasping at straws.
Grasping at bucks. Grasping at bucks. And if their conditions are out there and they hear me and they, I know I look ragged today because it's a Saturday and he dragged me out of bed, but I can dress up and look nice. I'm happy to join the legal team. Yeah, there you go. He's like, hey, I will offer my services to Blac Chyna. No.
Okay. Hell no. Okay. So you say, okay. So she got nothing. You're saying she got nothing. Okay. Hold on real quick. Lateef, what's up, man? Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He says, she has to know this is BS. Litigation brings publicity, good, bad, and a resurrection of light on your name. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to sit there and say, I get what you're saying, but as far as good, bad, and a resurrection of light on your name, the light, I feel like, is a bad light. And yes, it is true that there's no such thing as bad publicity, but this trial and this defamation lawsuit and the fact that it's for $300 million is absolutely beyond me. It just seems extremely like The Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation, he came in, he was suing her for $50 million. Then she countersued. So with that correction, $100 million. To me, I go, I get the $50 million. You see what I'm saying? I get that because that's the kind of money he makes. But Blac Chyna, $300 million, like Eddie just said, doesn't make no damn sense, man.
No, she's looking at the trajectories of the Kardashian sisters and the Jenner sisters, and fooling herself into believing that simply by being associated with those shows automatically puts you on a path to that kind of money. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't. And she's not an attractive woman, and that's I not to make it about that, but. No. You know, when you're looking at the rest of the Kardashian family and sort of what there's a reason why Rob is the big failure and the sisters are big successes. He looks like a bag of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he may as well be me on TV there. He's just a fat guy. Nobody's interested in him. He's not the draw. Nobody wants to see his life. We want to see what happens to the beautiful people.
Yeah.
That's what television's for.
And he just looks everything, especially with the leaked photos and all that stuff. All he's doing is coming off like a
He's
dirty, slimy. Yes.
I mean, what is his title? He's the least successful person in an enormously successful family.
Wow.
I mean, that's his legacy. Listen, but
you're speaking. That's so true, though.
Listen, because I know your audience. Your audience doesn't tune in to your bullshit. Your audience is here in the hopes that maybe will just speak their truth. You don't have to agree with me, but you respect the fact that you're truth.
Yes, and I appreciate you coming in with the facts. Now, here's another piece that I found very, very interesting that I pocket watch it with JT. He'll be here across from me Monday night, but I wanted to bring this topic up here too because I wanted to hear your thoughts on this. And this revolves around the Blac Chyna situation, which I find extremely strange. So get ready for this because this is weird. All right. And I know you're not a financial guy, but I feel like there's something in here that I think would be very interesting, okay? So Blac Chyna says she hasn't paid taxes in years, and she has no bank account. How does that happen? How does that bloody happen? So Blac Chyna is long overdue for a good accountant after testifying in court that she hasn't paid taxes in years, doesn't even have a bank account. Blac Chyna was questioned about her finances by the Kardashians' defense lawyer, Michael Rhodes, on Thursday on day 2 of her testimony in her civil case, which, of course, she was very emotional, talking about everything, especially about the leaked footage that Rob Kardashian put out, all that stuff. She was breaking down in tears. Yes, I can only imagine having very, very personal moments that are captured between you and your lover or you and your loved one being leaked out there for everyone, for the world to see. You know, that's some really messed up stuff. But continuing on with this article, she says the last filing of her businesses, Lashed LLC, 88 Fin, and Blac Chyna Inc., she tells Rhodes that the last time she personally filed was back in 7 years-ish? Okay. She also said she doesn't have any personal bank accounts. Chyna also revealed she'd made about $2 million in 2018 and makes money through celebrity appearances, like $25,000 for an upcoming celebrity boxing match. However, she's going to be in a boxing match. Okay. However, her main moneymaker seems to be OnlyFans, that OF, on which she claims she made $1 million. She says that she posts bikini and feet on OnlyFans, and when asked, admitted to post there as well. As reported, the Thursday's testimony, she was in tears when she talked about Rob Kardashian, her ex, posting nude photos of her online. And as you'll recall, the pics were removed from the IG after going up. But Rob still reposted them. The kind of guy he is, right, guys? So she is also saying she has not filed taxes, and she doesn't even have a say about this. What say you, Eddie?
I have to believe that this is a question of semantics. Like this, she can't not having any taxes paid and coming out and admitting it like that.
That's insane.
What I have to believe it is that, she must be corporate, and the corporation must be, the money must be going to the corporation. The corporation is paying the appropriate taxes and money through to her. Maybe she's an S corp, and the taxes are being paid. And
S corp, not escort.
Yeah, S corp. Although I know, who knows what she'd do. I mean, and what's with these feet pictures? I mean,
Homie, I have no idea. But apparently people like seeing feet.
I have always heard of a thing called a foot fetish. But there are free feet everywhere if you're into that. You could walk along a beach and get a bunch of feet for free. I don't understand all these people making money on OnlyFans with pictures of their feet. What the heck?
I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Well, do you think anybody would pay me anything for my feet? I mean, for the love, I have money, but if I can make a few extra selling pictures of my feet, I mean, it's just crazy to me. But anyway, no, listen, if she actually has not paid any income taxes when she's clearly made a lot of income, she's just basically confessed to a crime, and I would hope the IRS would investigate that. My guess is this is semantics. She's probably set up as a corporation. The corporation probably paid the taxes. She may just pay them personally. Like, I don't do that stuff. My accountants take care of it, so I have no idea what I paid.
Right.
So that's why I say you got to take the language and say, what is she really saying here? She may just be saying, that's like me saying, I haven't cleaned my room in 5 years. Doesn't mean my room's messy, because maybe somebody else cleaned it.
Now you're a lawyer. That's a lawyer. That lawyer response right there. Well, this is semantics. It could be this, that, and the third. I see what you're saying, though.
I'm not trying to explain it away, but I'm trying to understand how that could be true. And instead of just assuming that the only interpretation is, my God, this woman owns, and she just committed to a crime, just to say, well, hold on a second. Is there another explanation that would account for this? Because I find it odd that somebody would just come out and start confessing to crimes right and left.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, but then you're on the stand. You're not allowed to lie, right? Allegedly, or you'd be tried with perjury, correct?
Yeah. I don't know how many people get tried with perjury.
Yeah,
you hear about it mostly in movies, and it exists. It's a real thing, and hopefully, it does scare people into telling the total truth. Talking about being a little, the liars lie. It usually doesn't matter if they're under oath or not, and that's about all there is to it.
You know what I mean? We should start our own OnlyFans like foot channel.
I'm telling you,
just you and me. You know what I mean?
Count it in. What size shoe do you wear?
13, 14 pence.
My God.
All right.
I wear 10, but there's a huge difference between a 10 and a 13.
There is.
But that's good. So if we do pictures of our feet and they're cuddling, you're gonna have to be the big spoon.
Little spoon. There we go.
My feet are definitely they're definitely a little spoon.
But yes, I can see your point though about the it could just be a semantics thing and all that. But I just found it very interesting that she would just go up there and just straight up say that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
like just I haven't paid taxes and this, that, and third, and this for this long, and I've made X amount of dollars, and I get it that she probably all these checks and all that are being written out towards her, probably her corporations and her LLCs, but still, man, does it make you go, what? How do you not have a business account or
Let me say this.
a personal bank account? That's just so wild to me, yo.
More importantly, though, how do you think the jury hears something like that? You think they're going to start feeling for her? Everybody on the jury's working hard and paying their taxes.
Facts.
She ain't. Not a chance.
No, I don't think so.
Mark it down. If she wins her case, I'll never come on the show again.
Well, that's the hopefully you are.
I'm right.
Hopefully you are right.
No,
okay.
I cannot even believe it's going in front of a jury.
Yeah, it's a wild situation. Real talk. This $300 million is just so much, and she really does think she deserves that money, including her mama. Her mama's she is out for blood. Yeah. On the Kardashians, but the accusations that are coming out of things being said, yes, you say that those are just opinions and factual, but still.
You know what's interesting? There's another cause of action called a tortious interference with a business relationship or a contract.
Yeah.
And that wasn't raised here. Like, they didn't make the case to say, these people interfered with my existing contract. They got in the middle of a business relationship. Like, they didn't make that claim. So let's assume that everything that happened there was fine. Let's assume Kris Jenner went to the head of E and say, my family made your network billions of dollars. I don't want to see this woman back on a show with my son. She used my son. She got knocked up fast. She's got a restraining order against him. She's been violent toward him. I don't like her. I don't want to see her be a success. If you feel any sympathy to my family, you will cancel that show. There's nothing wrong with that. There would be nothing wrong with her doing that.
So that does not fall in the confines of defamation at all? Defaming someone?
No, where was the lie?
Okay.
Where was the lie? That's the thing. You gotta find the lie.
Okay, so So if I walked up into, went to some corporation or something like that, or went to some corporation,
you've done it.
I did the same thing.
But you've done it. What do you think happens every an online restaurant? I ate there. I hated the food. I'll never go back again.
True.
That's not defamation. They're recounting their truthful experience, and it will hurt that place's business because people sharing their opinions, those are called reviews, and they do hurt people's business. When critics get on the air and they review a movie and they say, you know what, this movie wasn't very entertaining. It was too long. The plot didn't go anywhere. It's going to office. The studio's going to lose a bunch of money. Nobody's going to get sued because they're offering their opinion. Those are not lies. People shit people's businesses all the time. And as long as it's not a lie, they're okay.
Gotcha.
Now, if a person went in and they at a restaurant and they took pictures and they said, look, don't go to so-and-so. The place isn't clean. Look what I found. That's defamation. That's a lie. They didn't go in there and find cockroaches. They planted cockroaches, took pictures, presented it like a health violation, and now the place is out of business. That is a lie with damages. But you see the difference there?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so she has every right. Just right? Again, or to drive it home. Kris Jenner has the right to call in, let's just say the producers of E, and say, you know what, we do this, we do that, and this whole thing, the restraining order, all that stuff. I don't think you guys should continue doing another season with, of Rob or of just Chyna, of doing Blac Chyna. That is not defamation.
No.
Okay.
No. As long as they weren't lying.
Okay.
As long as it wasn't based on a lie. Now here's where it gets a little complicated. What if there was one lie mixed in with 7 perfectly valid opinions? Okay? So, for example, in the example I just gave, Kris Jenner calls up, we made your network. I don't think this is healthy for my son personally. I'm concerned about the order and how that's going to be. We don't be successful on our glomming off of our empire. Those are all opinions. But let's say in that, too, she says, and she was physically abusive to Rob.
Okay.
Well, now we can look, and that's what happens, by the way, in this trial, is they're looking at that one allegation, that one claim, because apparently at one point she choked him with an iPhone charging cable.
Yes, and then put a gun to his head, unloaded gun,
but
to his head.
Anybody that understands gun safety, first of all, he should not have had a gun present at all that wasn't properly secured, locked away. Gun safety rules, anybody that knows anything with gun, is it doesn't matter if the gun is loaded or not. It is absolutely a violation to point it at somebody. And you should absolutely, under no circumstances, have your finger on a trigger until you are squarely pointing at that which you plan to shoot. So, there is no playfulness when it comes to a real gun. Her saying, I was just making a joke, you know what? That's a real bad joke because that's illegal. Go find a joke that's not illegal. But brandishing a weapon, pointing a weapon in somebody's face is not legal. Choking somebody playfully, that's just subject to interpretation. You're never going to be able to prove that was just a playful joke And so then you took a playful joke, made it into an aggressive statement. The aggressive statement is a lie. Like, I just don't see any path here, any formula by which she's able to prove that a lie caused her to lose $300 million.
Wow.
And when I read all the stories, I was quite aggravated with her.
Yeah, because it's wow. Yeah, I could get, and I get the aggravation for real. Let's keep it straight funky, y'all. You know, the accusations and this lawsuit are far fetched. And if she was to, let's say, win this, there would have to be some sort of crazy miracle to happen, like a leaked audio of a phone conversation or videos or something that can show without a shadow of a doubt that the family, the Kardashians, were basically trying to stop her from scooping a bag.
With lies.
With lies. Absolutely. With lies.
If you want to do it with have at it. If you want to do it with lies, you got a problem.
Yeah, no, that's just so crazy. But you're laying down the facts and all that. So guys, that is the show. All right. I want to say a big thank you to every single last one of y'all for being a part of the conversation. I want to say a big thank you to Eddie, Herman from Ed Versus, and also from BCTV on YouTube, bctv.com as well. Can you tell them a little bit more where they can find you, follow you, all that good stuff? You know what I mean?
You know, first of all, you should be following our law firm, Brown and Crouppen.
You
probably know our name. And I'll go so far as to say you probably know our name better than you know any other law firm's name in town. And there's a reason for that. We know what we're doing. We can't handle every single case that's out there, but if you have something, you should call us first. And we'll be honest with you. If you've got a case, we're going to handle it. If we think the case has got problems and it may not be worth your heartache to go through with it, we're going to be honest with you. You're going to get the same kind of blunt but intelligent reasoning as I hope you felt you got during the show. If you want to follow me personally, go to Facebook and look up The Godfather of Law. That's my page, and I do fill it with... Oh, my God.
The camera just died. I'm sorry.
Well, you can still hear me.
Yes.
I do fill it not just with a bunch of legal stuff. There's a lot of entertainment on there, but then there's also some interesting legal stuff.
Yes. And again, I do appreciate you coming on, chopping it up with me and all that. So guys, follow him, find his stuff, tastefully cyber stalk him. He's got some really great content out there. He's very, very funny, very, very insightful. He's got a lot of great stuff. So go and check him out. Okay. But anyways, time to get going. Be sure to hit that like button down below. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. I appreciate all y'all, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Monday night, I will have Pocket Watching with JT live in person across the table to chop it up and talk about all the things financial and all that as well, and talk about this Blac Chyna stuff as well. So anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all. To the mods, mwah, I love you mods. You guys are amazing. We had a great show. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Do something wonderful and positive. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys very soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.